In this video, we're going to be looking at making another spreadsheet using Microsoft Excel. In today's tutorial, we're going to be looking at a fishing trip that some of the Year 8 kids went on, and we've made a tally of all the different fish that they caught, as well as a few snags along the way. Okay, so our job is to basically answer the questions in this box down below. Okay, so let's get into it. Zoom in a little bit so we can see it a bit clearer. Number 1 says to format the table above using simple fill colors, fonts, and appropriate borders. Okay, so that's basically saying make this table of data look pretty and much easier to read than what it is now. Okay, so let's start with this heading up the top here in cell B2. Remember, cell B2 comes from column B and row number 2. So we're in cell B2. Let's just make that font a bit bigger, make it bold, and highlight from B2 all the way across to H2 just by clicking and dragging. And I want you to choose the merge and center button up the top. And remember, if you can't see the words merge and center, just find the little symbol that has the arrows pointing side to side on a box. And that merges or joins together all those cells that we highlighted and puts our text in the center. Okay, so that's a nice looking heading. Coming in next, we've got the types of fish and our totals and whatnot, so we need to make them bold. And we'll do the same for the names down the side. We'll make them bold as well. Now we're going to highlight all of the data in our table, and we're also going to highlight this empty row just below it because we're going to use that in just a moment. And what I want you to do is just center align the text. Okay, I might actually push the names back to the left align side, but everything else, so all this sort of stuff here, should be centered. Okay, I think it looks a little bit neater when it's centered. Now the next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to resize our columns. Okay, you can pick them up and drag them around to resize them. That's one way of doing it. But let's get them all a consistent width. So up the top here where you can see the letters going across the top of our spreadsheet, you can click and drag to highlight all of those columns like so. So highlight all the columns and then just right click your mouse on any one of those letters up the top and choose the column width. Now the column width is just a rough guess. I'm going to guess 15 for my width and click OK. And that looks pretty good actually. So now we have all our columns at size 15 width, and they're all the same size, so they look consistent and it looks professional. Next thing I'm going to do is put some borders around all of this data, including this empty row at the bottom since we're going to use it in a moment. So highlight it all, and then up the top find your little window box here, click on the arrow next to it and select all borders. And that sticks a border around all of the cells in our table. I guess the last thing to do to make it look good is to fill it in with some color. So up the top here, let's go to you select this first cell and then we go to our fill bucket. And you can just choose some colors to fill it in with. Okay, so I might choose a darkish blue there. And then a slightly lighter blue there. And then every second row, I might highlight a different color as well, just so it's easier to read the data. So something like that looks pretty good. Okay, so that's question 1 all done. So I might highlight that and just change its color so I know that I've got that finished. Question 2 says to complete the total fish column to show how many fish each person caught. You must use a sum formula to work this total out. Okay, so columns go up and down. And if we look over to the right here, we've got this total fish column. So we need to fill out these empty boxes or cells with a formula. Okay, and basically all we're doing is adding together all the fish that Montana caught and putting the total over here. Okay, you do need to remember that snags aren't fish. Okay, so make sure that you don't include them in our total column. So in this empty cell over here, we always start a formula by writing the equals sign. To add together some numbers, we write the word sum, we open up a bracket, and we highlight the numbers we want to add together. So I'm highlighting from cell number C4 all the way across to F4. Remember, we don't highlight snags because they aren't fish. Close your bracket and press enter, and you get a total of 10. Let's do the same for the next one for Kalaya. So equals sum, open up a bracket, and highlight all the fish that she caught. close the bracket, press enter. Okay, so they both caught 10 fish. We'll do one more of those, so equals sum, open up a bracket, and let's work out how many fish Seth has caught. So he's got 20, he's doing quite well. You can see a little green arrow in the corner of these cells. Don't worry about that. It's just there because it's wondering why we're not adding these numbers into our total as well. Okay, but we don't want them, so the computer's just a little bit confused about why we're not doing that. But forget about that. Alright, so let's go down to Charlotte now. Alright, equals sum, open up a bracket, and highlight all the fish Charlotte caught. Close the bracket and press enter. On the next line, write equals sum. Highlight the fish Christina caught. Close your bracket and press enter. And finally, equals sum, open up your bracket and work out how many fish Mr. Bayduck caught. Close the bracket, and there's your answers. Okay, now remember, when I come to mark your work, I can click on these totals and I can see up the top here in the formula bar what you've actually written in for your formula. So don't just copy my answers off here, you need to actually write the formula in to get full marks for this task. Okay, so that's question 2 all done, so I'll highlight that and just make it red so I know it's done. Number 3 says to create a new row at the bottom of the table called total of each fish. Fill out that row using the sum formula. So rows go left and right, they're horizontal. So at the bottom of our table, we've got this empty row at the bottom. We're going to call total of each fish. Okay, and I might just need to left align that. I did have that centered before. So we need to now work out how many Murray cod we caught and put the total in here. Then we look at the yellow belly, how many we caught, and put the total in here. Alright, so we do the sum formula to do that again. So again, start with the equal sign and write the word sum, open up a bracket and highlight the numbers that we want to add together. Close the bracket and press enter. I just want to show you a quick way now to add numbers together. Okay, the spreadsheet can sometimes work out that you want to add all of these numbers together. So instead of writing the word sum, you just click in this empty box, go up the top and find the auto sum button and press it. And it guesses that you want to add those numbers together and put the total in here. So it writes the formula for you. So you can simply just press enter and it's done. Click in the next box, press auto sum, press enter. Click in the next box here, press auto sum, press enter. Another way to do that is just highlight the numbers you want to add together, press auto sum, and it just puts it in the box below. Okay, so you can now see that we've got the totals of each fish. So obviously we caught the most yellow belly, okay, and we caught the least silver perch. Alrighty, let's just highlight that one red because we've got the total for each fish and our snags done there. Number 4 says using the sum formula work out how many fish were caught overall on this trip and write your answer in cell H10. So let's go to column H up here and come down to the 10th row, which is this empty box. And from here we simply need to add together all the fish we caught, remembering that snags aren't fish. So we're going to need to write this formula in our cells. We can't use auto sum for this one. So write equals sum, open up a bracket and just highlight the Murray cod, the yellow belly, the carp and the silver perch totals. Close the bracket and press enter. So we get a total of 72 fish being caught. Alrighty, so that's question 4 all done. Question 5 says to create a column chart showing the different types of fish that Seth caught. Then we're going to format the chart to make it look visually appealing and add titles to both of the axes. Okay, so we need to only highlight the data we want to include in this table, in this chart. So we want the type of fish Seth caught. So let's highlight the type of fish first of all. So we've got those 4 fish there. Why don't we just highlight snags for good measure as well? Okay, so we're highlighting from cell number C3 all the way across to G3. Then we're going to hold down Control on our keyboard. So hold down the Control key. And we're going to highlight the numbers that Seth has next to his name. So from C6 all the way across to G6. So that's highlight all the numbers plus all the names of the fish. We're now ready to make a column chart. So go up to the Insert tab at the top. And you've got a whole bunch of different charts here. We're looking for this one here, a column chart. And the one you want is just the first one. If you'd like, you can do a 3D chart. I'm easy. I just like the first one because I think it looks good. Nice and simple. I'm going to zoom out a little bit. I'm going to put the chart just off to the side here somewhere. Okay, if you want you can put it down below even. I might put it down below. So with this chart we need to format it and make it look a little bit better. So there's a few ways to do that. First thing is you can just click on this white background area, and up the top here you've got different ways you can format your chart. Okay, so have a look at all the different ways you can format your chart. I'm going to go with this black one. I think it looks pretty cool. Might give it a title. We just got to give it a meaningful title, so maybe Fish Seth caught. You can call it whatever you want as long as it's meaningful and shows that we're showing fish that Seth caught. Okay, next thing we need to do is label the axis. So while you've got your chart selected, go up to the top left and add a chart element. In the axes here, add a primary horizontal. Oops, just lost that. Leave that turned on. It's the axis titles I'm after, sorry. I was clicking on the wrong button then. So go to axis titles and select primary horizontal. And the title at the bottom, just write type of fish in capital letters. Okay, we'll add another chart element, and this time for the axis title we want a primary vertical. And we're just going to label it as number of fish. Okay, and that needs to be in capitals as well. So that is our nicely formatted column chart that shows all the different fish that Seth caught on this trip. That's question 5 done, so tick that off. Question 6 says using the max formula, work out what the highest number of fish caught by a single person was. We need to write our formula over here, so somewhere off to the side. Okay, we might write it just in this grey box that it's given us. So we haven't used the max formula before, but basically the max formula shows us the highest number in a range of data. Okay, so I'll show you how this works. We want to find the highest number of fish caught by a single person. So we're going to be looking at the totals down here. Okay, we want to find the biggest number. I know we can look at it and just point out straight away, oh, 20 is the biggest number. Okay, and Seth must have caught the most fish. But what we want to do is make the spreadsheet tell us that answer. Okay, so in the grey box, we're going to start by writing an equals sign. We always start with the equals sign. And we write in the word max this time. And we open up a bracket and we highlight all the totals from the fisherman. Okay, so that's H4 all the way down to H9. Close your bracket and press enter, and the answer will come up as 20. So the spreadsheet has found that out of these numbers we highlighted, the maximum number or the highest number is 20. Okay, so that's question 6 done. We've used the max formula to find the highest number of fish caught. Then number 7 says, looking at that above answer that we just came up with, which fisherman was it that caught the most fish? Write your answer over here in the grey box. We know that that's Seth. Okay, all you have to do is find the number 20 and just go back along the line, and you can see it was Seth. Alright, so that's number 7 done. Flying through this now. Number 8 says use the average formula to work out the average number of fish caught by everybody, and then write our answer over here. Alright, so we know their totals, but what was the average amount of fish that we caught for each person? Alright, so we start in the grey box with an equal sign, and we write the whole word. We write average, and then open up our bracket, and we're just going to highlight the totals from everybody again. So that's H4 down to H9. Close our bracket, and that's our formula. When you press enter, you'll see that 12 is the average number of fish that people caught on this trip. Okay, so it's looked at all those numbers we highlighted and just averaged them out. So we can tick off number 8 now. We've got the average number of fish people caught. Number 9 says using the min formula, work out the least number of fish caught by a single fisherman. Okay, and we need to write our formula over here in the grey box. So it's very similar to what we've just done. We write equals and write the word min, open up our brackets, and highlight the totals from everybody. Okay, close your bracket, press enter. And it shows us now that the lowest number of fish caught, or the least number of fish caught, was 2. Okay, so we'll highlight that in red. Number 10 says, Looking at the above answer that we just came up with, which fisherman was it that caught the least amount of fish? So we go down our list and look for the number 2. There it is. We come across, it was Mr. Bait Up. So in the grey box, write Mr. Bait Up. That's question 10 done. Finally now, in question 11, create a bar chart that displays the number of each fish caught. Format the chart to make it look visually appealing and add titles to both of the axes. Okay, so remember, we only highlight the information that we need. So in this case, we're looking for the number of fish caught. So we highlight the names of the fish first of all. We'll highlight snags as well for good measure. And then we're going to hold down the control key on our keyboard and just highlight the totals for each of those fish and the snags. So we've got the names of the fish highlighted and we've got the totals down the bottom highlighted. Once they're selected, we can go to the Insert tab at the top and we want to insert a bar chart. So you go back to this one that looks like a column chart and you've got bar charts down the bottom. Again, you may choose a 2D or a 3D chart. I might do a 3D chart this time just to be a little bit different, and I'm going to move that chart down the bottom here. Like before, you can format it. Okay, so feel free to come up here and give it a bit of a format. So I might go with this cool grey look. Oops, sorry, this time. Once it's formatted, change the title. Okay, so number of each fish caught. It's probably a good title. Now the next thing we need to do is just click back on this chart, go up to the top left and add a chart element, and in the axis titles, primary horizontal will come first. We'll just write number of fish caught down the bottom, and then add another chart element. This time we're going to add in a primary vertical title. In capital letters I'll write type of fish. Okay, so it's always good measure to label your X and Y axis. So that is a bar chart, one that goes horizontally. Column charts go vertically. Just remember that. Alright, so we can tick off that last question now. It's all finished, and that is our spreadsheet tutorial today, all done. Okay, so hopefully you got all the same answers as me. Remember, as I come around to mark, I'll be looking in these number boxes over here to see that you have used a formula. Okay, we don't want to just write the answers in. We want to get used to using these simple formulas to allow the spreadsheet to do calculations for us. Okay, save that up and you're all done.